We all probably have a vision in our head of what we think an entrepreneur is and what they're going to look like, but a lot of that comes with myths that have come from the media and other different sources. So let's have a look at some of the core myths that people tend to think about entrepreneurs and debunk some of them based on some real examples. Myth number 1, entrepreneurs have to sacrifice their personal life. Yes, we can all imagine an entrepreneur slaving away in some garage, never getting any personal time for their friends and family. And while yes, you do have to work exceptionally hard as an entrepreneur, you also are in control of that lifestyle. You get to choose when you take self-care and when you don't. And actually, being an entrepreneur, you have the flexibility to build that lifestyle in the best way possible, so it doesn't always mean that you have to sacrifice your personal life. A key example of that is Richard Branson, the UK entrepreneur and founder of Virgin Group. He quite famously back in the 80s had his young daughter Holly and son Sam while he was still at the early stages of building Virgin Group. He launched Virgin Atlantic at the same time as his children were young and continued to grow the empire that eventually became worldwide while raising a family as well. So you can have a balance between work and building a business as well. Myth number 2 is entrepreneurs have to take a lot of risk. There's a partial truth in this one. Yes, entrepreneurship is about trying things new. It is potentially about launching something that's never been seen before, but that level of risk isn't completely reckless risk. It is calculated. They spend time testing and validating their ideas before they then eventually build them into concepts that have a higher likelihood of success. So yes, there's risk involved, but it is planned and managed. Famously, James Dyson of Dyson Hoover fame spent 5 years and created 5,000 prototypes for his first vacuum cleaner. That is a lot of testing and developing to make sure that when he eventually launched his product, he'd minimised the risk because he had put so much time and attention into making sure it was perfect. And he also minimised risk by reflecting on previous mistakes. Entrepreneurs make mistakes, they don't always go right. In a previous business venture, he'd patented the barrel ball, which is a wheelbarrow with a ball at the bottom of it. Very similar to the Dyson Hoover with the ball on it eventually that would come. But when the business friction appeared in that previous venture, he lost the patent because the company owned it. And he said he would never make that mistake again. And as he launched his Dyson Hoover empire, and obviously other products that came with that, he'd learned from those mistakes and minimised that risk. So yes, entrepreneurship can be risky, but it is about controlling and testing it so that when you do launch, you can minimise as much risk as possible. Myth number 3 is that entrepreneurs never quit. And while it is common thought that yes, entrepreneurial resilience and determination is indestructible, that's not always true. Entrepreneurship is about making failures, it's about making mistakes, it's about learning from them. And if you didn't learn to quit at the right time, you might be ending up walking down the wrong path with a dead product that's never going to launch. You have to be able to quit when you know it's time to quit, but also keep pushing beyond those failures, because if you quit at every failure, you're never going to get very far. An example of this is Bill Gates of Microsoft and Steve Jobs of Apple. They famously quit their university courses to pursue their business ideas. Imagine our world if they hadn't quit. Yes, entrepreneurs have a determination and they have to keep pushing through failures and challenges, but they also learn where to focus and where to quit to make sure their time is of most value. Myth number 4, entrepreneurs are young. Well, we are used to seeing the young billionaires of Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook or Sarah Blakely from Spanx, but they don't always show the bigger picture. If you look into the average age of an entrepreneur in the UK is around 47 years old, and it's very similar around the world. Some of the world's biggest global brands have been set up by founders when they were over 50 years old. John Pemberton set up Coca-Cola at 55 years old, and Harlan Sanders set up KFC when he was 65. So while we are used to seeing young tech entrepreneurs in the media, it doesn't tell the full story that actually entrepreneurs can come from any background and be any age. Myth number 5, entrepreneurs are rich. You need to have a big trust fund and a big lucrative family to fund your venture to be an entrepreneur. Well, that's not completely true. Some of our world's leading entrepreneurs started their business and had a background where they had very limited money. Ralph Lauren, when he was a kid, his family couldn't even afford to give him clothes, and it was the hand-me-downs from his brother that eventually led him to build and develop a global billion-dollar fashion empire. Similarly, Oprah Winfrey used to wear potato sacks as clothes during her difficult childhood, but she was able to use her personality to become an entrepreneur, TV show host, author, and build a global personal brand. And money shouldn't be your only focus either. If you're in entrepreneurship to be rich, that might not be the best path either. Founders often take some of the smallest salaries in the business for the first years, and it's only when it grows to be a successful global business that entrepreneurs start cashing in. So if your motivation is money, it might be time to reconsider what you're going to be getting out of this business. Hopefully from these 5 entrepreneurship myths that we have challenged and debunked, it's giving you a better understanding of the process of entrepreneurship, and that it is the importance of your passion and your values that will help see your ambitious project come to life.